What is happening? This is a very special episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, and this is going to be a spoiler-free review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. So, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to mention any of the Easter eggs. I'm not going to mention that Mario dies. I'm just kidding. He has a one-up. Don't worry. Just playing. I'm just playing. No, there'll be no spoilers. This is a special movie, though. I really, really, really enjoyed it. But we're going to get into it. So, right from the get-go, the moment the movie starts, I'm talking before we see anything Nintendo, this thing is screaming Nintendo. I was immediately pulled in. I'm eating popcorn in my question mark block popcorn tin, just ready to lose myself for the next hour and a half. And I will tell you this in case you don't get to the end. Stay all the way through the credits. Trust me. All the way through the credits. Not past the first little bit of credits. All the way to the end. Pull out your phone, play some Mario Kart Tour, go on TikTok, whatever you got to do, but stay to the end, okay? So, right off the bat, the thing about this movie is it is absolutely made for the fans first. The critics over on Rotten Tomatoes giving it like a 58. I've seen as high as a 98% audience score. If you are a fan of Super Mario Brothers of any kind, this is for you. If you've been a fan as long as I have, back from when it first came out, I'm wearing my if you're only listening, I'm currently wearing, the original Super Mario Bros shirt, 1985. I've even got my Super Mario Brothers hat on. This is what I wore to the theater. This movie is chock full of fan service. So many Easter eggs, so many things you might not catch the first time. I'm going again tomorrow. I'm going to go see this again tomorrow. And if you guys follow anybody, like I've seen Andre from Game Explain talk about it quite a bit, and he said this. He's like, the second time you see it, you see more. And I was on the lookout. Believe me, I was trying to see as many Easter eggs or hear as many Easter eggs as possible. And it has so many, so many. You really are in for a treat if you are a fan of Mario, and not just Mario, but really Nintendo. There are a lot of nods to all things Nintendo. And the great thing is I don't know that they give the exact timeline of this game, but you can tell, or this movie, but you can tell it's definitely 80s, mid 80s, right around there. And actually there's probably one particular, well, we don't know how new it is, I guess. I'm being vague because I don't want to give any kind of spoilers. I don't want to take anything away from the experience. So there I don't I had a smile on my face the whole time. I will say this about being in the theater too. It's interesting because there were a lot of kids. It's spring break. And most of you probably realize when there's kids in the theater, you're like, oh no, not kids. Like, the most amazing thing would happen. Something would take place in the movie, and I'd hear a small child go, I remember doing that. That's from my game. Like, they were absolutely immersed and just loving every minute of it. And you could tell the movie's definitely catered towards children. There's no question. But there are so many nods that will leave a smile on your face if you've been a fan of Super Mario Brothers for a long time. So let's talk plot. Well, you kind of already know. I'm not going to get into it too much, but you kind of already know. And you know what? You're going to be okay with it. You're probably not going to this movie to have some life-changing story be told. You're going into this the same reason you play Mario games, not for the story, but for the experience, for the visuals, sometimes for the characters. And that's exactly what you get here. There's just the way they handle certain things in the movie is it's just done so well. And it stays very true to source material, which a lot of times that can be difficult, right? And they this is what I will say. They made the movie I always envisioned as a child. The Super Mario Brothers movie is the movie I always envisioned as a child. I remember watching the old Mario movie and just wondering, like, did these people play the same game I played? Like, what is going on? Why are Goombas these giant creatures with tiny heads? Why is Bowser this weird lizard dude? None of it made any sense. Like, what? This And I think we've probably all had those moments where we watch certain movies and it's like, this is such strange choices they're making. Like, why don't they just stick to the source material? Well, they absolutely do that here. In fact, they did it so well they actually left me wanting more. I wanted I wanted I wanted more source material. And they already hit so many uh, nostalgic buttons, like so many. It's just a really good time. It's a really good time. Don't expect much from the plot. Now, character-wise, Chris Pratt, he killed it as Mario. I'm pretty sure I spotted where uh Charles Martinet is. I there's two characters I think were Charles Martinet. There are nods to some other games, but again, we're not going to go into any spoilers, but the characters really great. The penguin scene that we've all seen from the trailers, it's just fantastic. The Luma that we see in the in the in the cage, basically taunting Luigi, such a fun, cute little character. The the rest of the cast, Seth Rogen, like every time he laughs with Donkey Kong, you can't help but smile. So well done. There was really only one voice actor that I felt like they didn't quite nail the casting, and that was for Funky Kong. Luigi, amazing. Charlie did so well. Jack Black as Bowser, like you can tell they gave him some creative freedom and it worked. It worked. It reminded me of like when Jim Carrey did the Grinch. And for me that just worked. They let him be a little Jim Carrey and they let Jack be a little Jack. And that's good in my opinion. Peach was amazing. Toad was amazing. They really knocked it out of the park with the casting. I think any concern that any of us had, I think it went right out the window. And they you're going to see when you watch how well they handle certain things that we were concerned about because it was their concerns too, and they really knocked it out of the park. Visuals. This movie visually, I've probably said game a few times. Forgive me, guys. All we ever talk about is games, so don't hold it against me. But this game, I just said it again. This movie, visually, absolutely stunning. There are moments that it's like there's such cool lighting taking place on the carts. Some of the shots are just the way the sun is setting. It really felt like you were a part of the Mushroom Kingdom. The areas where Bowser was at, where lots of fire, just very true to the source material, which automatically means the visuals are going to be stunning. When it comes to the power-ups, we've seen a lot of them in the trailers, or some of them in the trailers. They just did such a great job, and even the way they handle the power-ups, done so well. So well. You're in for a treat if you go if you're planning on going to see this. You will be in for a treat. Every time I start thinking as I'm going through my list here, there's just I'm like, "Oh," I start thinking about that. Like, it's gonna be a lot of fun when the 4 of us are together talking about this movie because and when we do a spoiler, like a spoiler cast for it, I can't wait. I can't wait to really dive in to talk about those Easter eggs. There were moments throughout the movie that I would continually be like, "Oh, oh, like did you like I just want to be like, "Did you guys hear that?" Like I wanted to say it or did you see that? Just so many cool nods. Visually stunning. Soundtrack absolutely amazing. If you are a Mario fan, your jaw will hit the floor with the way this soundtrack hits. There's such a beautiful mesh of modern with classic with rock songs and the way the composer handled the music. I can't say enough. It's so good. In fact, I don't want to talk that much about it because I feel like it takes it into spoiler material. The way they handle it and just be listening. It's almost one of those movies that I mean, not that you would want to, but if you watch with your eyes closed, you'd probably be like, "Yo, I'm catching so much more." It's kind of crazy, honestly, how well the soundtrack and not just the music. There are so many familiar sound effects, and there's things that it was like where things could potentially sound corny, they would they would modify them enough without going too far from the way they originally sounded that just nailed it. They just nailed it. My overall impression of the movie, is it your perfect movie? Absolutely not. No. Like I said, you're not going for the story, you're going for the fun. Get some popcorn, get some soda, get some nachos, whatever, some licorice, M&Ms, get your junk food and just turn your brain off and enjoy this thing. If you are a fan of Nintendo, this was made for you. I saw it with almost a packed theater opening day. There was Nintendo commercials playing ahead of time. There was a kid sitting next to me, and I was like, "Yo, who's your main in Smash? Do you play Smash? Who's your main in Smash?" And he was like, "I don't know." And his mom was just laughing, but you could see the joy. I could hear little kids as they were walking out of the theater. Well, that was a good movie, that's what they were saying. So there it left everybody left with a smile on their face. This was made for fans. I know I've said it a few times now. There were moments in this movie that, as crazy as it sounds, like I I I I didn't get to like point of tears, but there were a few moments that I'm like almost emotional because it's just like this is what I've wanted to see my whole life, and I'm finally seeing it. And there's parts in the beginning that are kind of tied to the plot a little bit that really resonated with me, and honestly made me connect with Mario even more, if that's even possible. But I think it is, and I can't say enough good about it. All I can say is I really hope we see more. There are they have shown us things from the beginning that would make us think there's more to come. I won't. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into it now. There are things said in the movie that definitely make us think there are more to come. And all I want to say is just keep your eyes peeled for all of the Easter eggs. If you are a fan of classic NES, there are Easter eggs everywhere, everywhere. And the detail put into this movie, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Nintendo Powercast. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, whatever, I appreciate you guys. I want to let everybody know, make sure to check out The Legend of Zelda Whispers of Destiny. The new episode is coming out tonight. It is tied to the Nintendo Powercast. So if you're not subscribed, you may not be seeing it. You may not realize that it's part of the show. So make sure you guys follow on Spotify, subscribe on Apple or wherever you listen so that you can get every episode downloaded, because we're doing more than just one episode a week. Sometimes we're up to 5 episodes. So love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoy the movie as much as I do. Make sure to let me know in the Discord. Tweet at me. I want to hear from you. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.